Well, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ken Biberaj, and welcome to Coffee with Ken, a thought leadership series at the nexus of business, politics, and sports. Here we are on a spring day about to watch some football. We are thrilled to be at Audi Field to watch the DC Defenders later today. And what could be better before the big game than having a pre-party coffee with Ken? We are joined by NFL legend and UFL VP, Daryl the Moose Johnston. And our good friend, Kate Greenberg, the Vice President of Team Business Operations and Development for the Washington Defenders. Hey. Well, listen, I think just starting right off the bat, we are here. It is a balmy spring afternoon, and we're about to watch some football. Well, what's going on? Football in the spring?
Football in the spring.
Is this a thing now?
Hopefully it's going to be a thing for a long time. There's been a number of leagues that have tried to do this, and for a number of reasons haven't been able to. But everybody that's a part of the UFL family, we all believe that this is the best group that's been assembled, has the best ownership support behind them. If anybody is going to crack the code on spring football and have it be sustainable and long-term, it will be this group. So we're very, very excited to jump into season 2. We're off to a good start. The one thing, the points are down a little bit, but it was funny because we went back and said, okay, well, what was going on last season? And if you look at weeks 1, 2, and 4, we're about the same as we are this year. Week 3, we had a spike, which was last weekend's games, and we didn't have that. So we're actually hoping that week 4 would be that, and we're off to a good start so far. So this is going to be interesting to watch. DC, one of our undefeated teams, leading the league right now. So if somebody's going to kind of jump out and show that offensive style of football that we may not be seeing consistently to start the year, we hope it's going to be Jordan Teamo and the Defenders.
Well, you said it, the Defenders are 3-0, Kate. I mean, how does that feel? What's going on?
It's so exciting. Gina, a big factor in our success is everybody that you can't see on camera, but you can hear. There are these incredible fans that are behind the camera here, but behind the Defenders all the time. You both know this. You and your family and your connection to market and playing there, the football. This is a town that naturally gravitating to more football. The Defenders are not either or Washington football. It's yes, and we want more football. It's a big sports town. This is a football town, and our fans loved it. There's been a groundswell for this franchise through all the different iterations of spring football. There's a staying power and a sticking power here. We're really proud of that because we know it's going to propel what Bill talked about as really the best iteration of football.
Well, this is a football town. This is a sports town, right? I mean, we had an amazing year with the Commanders. Folks are thrilled about the Defenders and everything going on this year. But talk a little bit more high level, Daryl, about the UFL, what this means, what trajectory, where are we going to be in 5 years, right? Is this, a landing pad and a launch pad to the NFL? Where do you envision the UFL going in the next 5 years?
Yeah, that's the hard one for us to really kind of have that conversation with people, because I think a lot of people look at what we're doing and immediately think of a developmental league or a G League or minor league baseball. They kind of lump us into that group. We like to consider ourselves a standalone professional football league that plays their games in the spring. Now, we do know about our ability to give players a second chance to go chase that NFL dream. And the big thing that we always talk to people about with our league is a lot of our guys have been in the NFL. I think Russ talked about it, like 350 guys on our 400 players in our league have been in an NFL training camp, at some point. And it's not just getting them back there, but getting them back there and fixing the reason why they didn't stay. And if we can get those guys up there for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, with the contracts that the NFL pays out, it's a very huge change in their lives. So that's one of the areas we're working at. I think you've seen even this year, a number of our people in our support staffs, within the video department, athletic training, sports or strength and performance, some of our coaches themselves coming into the season. We lost a couple of coaches to some of the big Power 5 NCAA schools. So you'll hear the League of Opportunity referenced, but really the big thing for us is we really look at us as a standalone professional football league, playing our games in the spring, providing an opportunity to improve your skill, change your narrative. But really, the one thing that we forget about is a lot of these guys continue to play football with us just because they love the game of football. There's a number of guys in our league who probably aren't going to get that NFL chance, but this still gives them an opportunity to play the game they love. And I know I can speak to this firsthand. There was nothing that simulates the bonds that you build or the environment that you're in when you're talking about an NFL locker room. There's nothing out there that's anything like that. It's such a unique time in your life, and you want it to last as long as it can. And the fact that these guys, when that window has closed, have chosen to stay in our league and try to do that same thing. I mean, Luis Perez comes back to us every year. Jordan Teamo comes back to us every year. And whether it's taking that next shot at getting back to the NFL or just because they love playing the game, they love that camaraderie in the locker room, they love the bonds that you build with teammates. They are so strong. They are so tight. And when you do something special, if you win a championship, those bonds are strengthened even more. So it's just, there's something about the game of football and that locker room and the teammates that you can't find anywhere else out there in the world. So you want to hold on to this as long as you can.
And it's one of these things where this is football, right? This is professional football, but at the same time, you're afforded the opportunity to maybe test out some new things, right? You're able to kind of be a little nimble that maybe you couldn't be at the NFL, whether it's kind of strategy or tactics or even fan experience, right? Maybe Kate, I'll start with you and then go to Daryl. What kind of like flexibility do you have here to kind of enhance and then kind of capitalize on the momentum of football?
Yeah, well, one thing that I will say, really was thinking about as you were talking, Daryl, is how much our players love the game. And it's not only that the players get to keep playing, but we open up new opportunities for fans to get close to the game. We play at Audi Field, which is designed for soccer, right? Find a better American football venue. You can't. You got so close to the field. A lot of our fans here know you get to come onto the field at least once a season, during a game, before a game. You get really, really, really close to the action, and it is professional football. It is high quality. You have a 300-pound, wide receiver running at you at full speed. And you're right behind a little barrier. It's an experience. It's a whole experience. So our game is a high quality game, and a big part of our fan experience is bringing our fans close to it, bringing you as close as possible to this professional football action, getting you right on that field, right next to that field, right up close to our players. We also take our players into the community. They love to talk about football. We took Jordan and a couple of the guys to a local high school out in Maryland the other day, and it was so genuine to see them connect with these young up-and-coming athletes, show them opportunities. They talked a lot about the opportunities that football afforded them. Jordan talked about how he was a successful player, but wasn't getting a lot of looks, but wanted to get out of his home state of Hawaii, and football afforded him that opportunity. And now it's taken him off to new heights, and it inspired a whole next generation of kids to know that there are more options than only playing in the NFL to continue in that sport. Take a junior college route like he did, translate that into other professional opportunities. There's a lot of places the sport can take you. So we bring our fans close to the action. That's part of the fan experience, but it's a great football action, and we've got a team that loves to play for this town.
It's amazing.
Yeah, we try to match that on the broadcast. So it's something, everything that Kate just talked about for the fans that are here at the stadium and getting them onto the field and getting them close to our players. And, when I was in the NFL, and you would have friends that would come down to the game, and they would meet these guys outside of football without their pads on. And then they would be on the field on game day, and they'd walk by and they're like, "Oh my God, who is that?" I'm like, "You went to dinner with him on Thursday." And I'm like, "I didn't go to dinner with that guy." So you get a feel for how big these guys are and how athletic they can be. But we do the same thing with our broadcast. There's going to be 4 players wearing a camera mounted into the chest today. So I think it's Anthony Hines and it's Abram Smith for DC. Right.
We love them.
Two great guys. Abram was fantastic when we were going with defense, right? We were putting it on linebackers and safeties. And then, we decided to kind of give it a shot on the offensive side. But there's so much that's already geared towards the offensive side. The quarterback is mic'd, the linemen are mic'd. You hear so much stuff from the offensive side that we really wanted to give the defense their opportunity. But as soon as we started to put it on the running backs, it was amazing. And, Abram was one of our first guys to wear it for us. We call it the Iron Man camera. It looks like what you saw in the Iron Man movies. And then on the opposite side, I think it's going to be Devontae Beckett and Anthony McFarland. So it's going to be linebacker, running back, linebacker, running back. And it takes you into the huddle. Some of the shots that you get from the video. The audio is fantastic as well. We got a lot of guys with a lot of personality, and that's kind of one of the things that we look for not just the position, but the personality of that player. And it's really fun to hear some of the stuff that happens on the field that we would never have an opportunity to hear. We've got a kill switch, so in case it gets a little, a little testy out there. But that's one of the things that we're doing. I think you've already seen the steady cam and the drones. We did double sky cam, bringing the sky cam in from behind the defense, which never really was done before because you're worried about a quarterback throwing the football and actually hitting the sky cam. But our sky cam guys are like, listen, I know my safety zone. I can get out of there. I know when not to press it. So we're just allowed to do things differently than the NFL because that's still it's a big league. And we're 8 teams, they're 32. We're a single owner entity, they're 32 individually owned franchises with leadership and monitoring from the NFL. We had a situation in week 3 where by rule, inside of 5 minutes at the end of the game, Mike Pereira or Dean Blandino can step in and fix something that happened that's going to impact the game. Well, it's 4th down and Birmingham has a false start, but Arlington makes the play to end the game. But you've got to go back and fix that false start because it's a penalty you can't decline. It happened before the snap. So you've got to go back and you've got to fix that. Well, Birmingham converts the 4th down the next time and goes down and wins that game 10-9. And I mean, Mark, my phone blew up. Everybody's phones are blowing up. They're like, wait a minute, that is not right. That is just not fair. So we got together with all of our coaches on Monday night, along with Mike and Dean, and just kind of talked through it. It was a unanimous vote by the head coaches. You are not allowed to go in and fix a pre-snap play that is going to penalize the opposition because of something they did. We rewarded Birmingham for making a mistake and gave them an opportunity to win the game, and it doesn't make sense. It's illogical. So by the next weekend when we kick off, it's already gone to our rules committee. We fixed it and we moved that quick. But it's all those little loopholes. It's the unintended consequences that you don't think about when you grant a ton of access, or you allow Mike and Dean to step in and make sure that we don't have some of the plays that you saw in the NFL this year. If we can fix it, we want to fix it in real time without getting bogged down like the college game does. So I think that's one of the great things about our league is we're not afraid to take risks. We're not afraid to admit when we're wrong. And everything that we do is geared towards the good of the game.
That's amazing. Kate, I want to get back to your background a little bit, right? Because picking up on what Daryl said, right? Like you have drones, you have cameras on players, right? Like a lot of new action and engagement at a time where we're all kind of on our phones, devices, and how we interact with sports has evolved. So you come a bit from the background of marketing and communications. How excited are you about this? Like, how do you see the utilization of this flexibility as a way to further enhance the fan experience and grow the audience base, not just in DC, but beyond?
Yeah. If I can be honest, when I listen to Daryl talk, it just reminds me how much I love my job. I love it so much. And as Daryl was talking about all of the innovation that we've brought in, and again, our fans who are here know this, the investment in what we're doing here on site here right now at Audi Field in DC is significant. The Skycam, the technology, the rules. We have an army of people that descend on this building and bring that to life, right? These aren't our venues. We have to bring that into every city that we play in to make it that great fan experience for the folks in the building and the folks watching on television. And it's a really cool thing to be a part of. It's really a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be able to say, how do you have this new innovative, expansive opportunity in sports and do it in a venue that's not your own. And so I've had to pull from every corner of my background, anything with marketing and operations that I've ever done. There's a lot of creativity that goes into how do we get this done? We have to come in fresh to a building 5 times and do it. But it's so rewarding because you were talking about our rules, and it's not something that you see on TV, but we also get to get creative about what that fan experience looks like. So we as a staff got to hear from Dean earlier this year, back in January, about some of our new rules. And I got off that call and I thought, why can't our fans hear about this? Like, this is really good stuff. This is really, really interesting. And so what we did for our season ticket members in all of our markets is we got on a Zoom with Dean. Our season ticket members, a lot of folks in this room, got on a Zoom with Dean. They got to hear directly from him what these new rules were going to be that they were testing. He had some show and tell as to why and how. What does this look like? Why are we doing it? Why are we testing it? And so now when they see the rules live in the game, or they're watching an away game and they see Dean up in the booth on TV, they're part of that experience. And so we get the opportunity, and that excites me every single day, is the opportunity to take every little bit of what we're doing that is so innovative and interesting and bring our fans as close as possible to it. And it's so fun.
That's amazing. And Daryl, obviously you had this unbelievable career, 3 Super Bowl wins on the field, then the broadcast booth, and now front office. How's it feel? How are you liking it? I mean,
it's so much more than you ever would have anticipated. There's so many things that I took for granted as a player, from the football operations side. Kate talks about game day and how many things are going around right now that you don't get an opportunity to see that she's overseeing and has been planning on all week long, and now you're out there trying to execute it. And there's going to be unintended consequences that happen. Something's going to spring up during the course of the game as you get pressure tested, and she's going to have to respond to that in real time. Those are the things, when you get to this part of the game of football that you can't prepare for. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, 2 years ago, it's 11:55 on a Sunday night, and I get a phone call from Doug West, who is our director of football operations. And he's like, hey, we're in Memphis. There's a lot of storms. A lot of the hotels are already sold out because of the weather and all the flights that were canceled during the day. Our crew just timed out. We're not going anywhere. He goes, can you find 115 hotel rooms? But at 11:55. And I'm like, all right, let's give this a shot. And it's 12:15 and you've gotten it done.
wow.
And it's still one of my proudest moments of like everybody just taking up, like Kate says, you wear a number of different hats, and you don't worry about where your job description is, what your roles are. You just try to help everybody out. I've been in situations where we've had delays on a plane, and to think about our 2 teams that were going to be stuck overnight, with nowhere to go. It's just like, oh my God, we got to get this fixed. So there's a lot of things like that, just things that you can't anticipate happening. But for me, it's being able to lean into all the things that I've learned from all these different people that have come across my path on my football journey. And I know a lot of people talk about, do you ever want to build your own team? Would you ever think about being a GM because you want to take all those bits and pieces? And that was when I started, down that path. But I said, now, we get to do it at a little bit higher level. So now we can kind of push down, what we believe is important to the game of football, from a league level. And as Kate talked about with the rules that we add every year, I mean, we felt so comfortable this year. There was only 3 really big rule changes that we had. We're going back to the old XFL style of the kickoff because it was so successful in the NFL last year. We always talked about if anything came out from a statistical standpoint or the data showed that, we needed to change course, we would do that. And so we were the traditional kickoff last year. The NFL comes out and has the lowest rate of concussions since I've been tracking it since 2016. A lot of that was to do with the new kickoff. So immediately we flip when we talk about the ability to be nimble and quick. When we talk about player safety, that's going to be one of the things that really makes us move quickly. So to be in a position to be able to do things like that, to make sure that our players are performing in a safe environment, to make sure that we are not allowing certain things to happen where we're going to impact their ability to grow as a player. One of the things that happened, during our CBA discussions is talk about practice time and things like that. And it was one of the things that being a part of this at this level, you can draw a hard line in the sand and say, these guys need the time. And I don't want to dictate to our staffs, how much time they can and can't spend with their players getting ready for a game. So to be able to put your fingers on all those different areas and really make sure that you keep the game true and honest to the way not only you feel it should be played, but when I get an opportunity to visit with all of our head coaches, to talk to Bob Stoops and Skip Holtz and Anthony Becht and Mike Nolan and pick their brain on different things and make sure that we're doing the right thing for them. We have so many assets at our disposal to be able to make the right decisions. And the great thing about us is if we are wrong, we do not have any egos at the top. Sure. And we just change course immediately.
So are you on the road all the time? Are you trying to hit every market to watch as many games as possible?
Yeah, we were trying to get to the first Friday night game, for each marketplace. We're trying to get to each marketplace during the course of the season. There are certain events that are going on when you get to that market that would want, some people there. We're always trying to help out, our Memphis, and we're always trying to help out our Houston as much as we can. Kate will tell you, about her counterpart down in Houston. It works as hard as anybody, and it's a challenging market right now. There's so many things going on in Houston, and we've gone from TDECU to Rice, back to TDECU. we haven't had that consistency there with that franchise, and it makes it challenging on the business side. So, anything that we can do to help out there, we're trying to do. But it gives us an opportunity to be able to go around the league and get to see all of our teams play, because that's one of the biggest things. Is a lot of the things that we celebrate at the end of the season come directly out of football ops. We have seen all the players, we have seen all the teams, and so when you see some of the postseason awards, a lot of that is driven directly by the football ops team that has been to all these games and seen the guys play in person.
Well, Daryl, I don't know if you remember what you said to me the first time you came to DC last season. So I'm going to tell everybody, because I think this group will really like it. So Daryl came to DC for the first time last season when the two leagues merged, and it's toward the end of the game, and I walked over to you. We were right over here in the north end zone, and I said, so what do you think of Audi Field? You probably don't remember this, but I do. You paused and you said, it's loud in here. And I was like, that's it. It is loud in here.
He's having flashbacks there.
Exactly. He was like, what is it with Washington football? But that was his reaction, right? And so Ken, you talked about, Daryl gets to see what happens in each of our markets, and each of our markets is so special. Of course, I think DC is the best market that we play in. And the fan base, thank you. And the fan base is a huge part of it, but it is the investment and the continued opportunity to innovate that the league allows that really is a difference maker, right? I, as a team business lead, am able to draw on that innovation, the group of people at the league level to say, hey, what is and isn't working here? How can we take what's going well, do it even bigger and better, right? How can we take this innovation and really make it tangible? And that's one thing that is unique about this single entity model that we have, is that we can build a great fan base, and we've got our local operations here, but we're able to draw on and truly tap into on a moment's notice. I can call any of the people Daryl's been talking about, call them during the game and say, I've got a problem. I need something. We've got to fix this. Let's make this better. Or you know what? We don't have a problem. We've got an opportunity. Can we talk about it on Monday? Absolutely. And that's one thing that really, I think, helps propel the defenders to the next level, is being able to build on a strong foundation that we have with our team here, but also tap into what the league brings to the table.
You both alluded to it. And I find it so fascinating, right? Like most leagues, right? Like NBA, NHL, like they're almost the whole year, right? I mean, there's 50 games, 100 games, right? This feels like a sprint, right? Like running this league and running these teams. I mean, there's 5 or 6 home games, like that's it. You made the joke earlier today to me. I was saying how I wanted to come to a game last year. By the time I looked at the calendar, like the season was basically over. And you noted, like, just go. Just go. Do this.
Just go. Get the tickets. Get the tickets. Come see us. It's a good time. You won't regret it. And it's affordable. We haven't talked about that, but it's a really affordable experience. You can get season tickets to a Defenders game, which means you get close to the action like we talked about. You get all the benefits. You can have season tickets here for 5 or 6 games for less than one single seat at one NFL game. Average price. Wow. So it's really affordable, but it's high quality football and a great fan experience. So don't wait, buy the tickets, come see us.
So it is a bit of a sprint though, right? I mean, but football is so unique. It's one day a week, right, in your league, and everything is about like that one game every single week, right? Like, how do you capture that in the velocity of the whole season? Yeah,
and even though the NFL only has an 18-week, 17-game schedule for the regular season, and then their playoffs continue on through, what they've been able to do, which is very creative, is capture that year-round calendar with all their big events, whether it's free agency, the draft. There's something that goes on the entire offseason that's built that year-round NFL calendar. We are completely different than that. I mean, we do 3 weeks of training camp. I mean, our guys come in and they got to get up to speed very, very quickly. And then we're into a 10-game regular season and, only 5 games at home. I had somebody reach out and they wanted to come to this game today at Audi Field, and then I guess forgot to talk to their wife about the Easter plans and had to change course last second. And he's like, hey, I'd like to get there before the end of the season. That's smart. And I'm like, you only got 2 more shots. You got the 18th and the 30th of May. So let's make a decision and I'll take care of you. But it happens so fast. And I feel it from our teams, because Memphis has gotten off to a tough start. They've had a bumpy year with a lot of change and not a lot of consistency, which is a really challenging environment for a football team to function in. And they're at 0-4 right now. And you've only got a 10-game season. And every game is precious. And they'll talk about it at the NFL level. But when you've got 17 games, you can kind of get out of a little bit of a rut. Down here with only 10 games with the UFL, You can't get out of that rut.
Yeah.
I mean, you lose a couple of games and you're behind the 8 ball pretty quick. And then every game becomes critically important down the stretch. So yeah, this is definitely more of a sprint than it is a marathon.
Interesting. So we've talked a little bit about the fan experience, engagement, value proposition. Talk a little bit about recruitment, right? Players, staff, coaching, business operations teams, right? Like you're building the ship while it's launching into the stratosphere. Like, what are the challenges and opportunities from a talent perspective for like league-wide and then maybe team-wide?
Yeah, on the football side, and then I'll let Kate speak to the business side. When we were in Legacy USFL, not only were we kind of league position guys, but we were also salesmen. To get the players or to get the players' agents to come our way, you had to have a really good story and you had to go out and sell them on that. We complete our second season. The XFL completes their first season. We come together last year, the first year after the merger, and those players and agents that we were having to sell our league to are now calling us.
Oh, sure.
And now there's been a huge shift in seeing what this league has done for other players, and people who 2 years ago wouldn't have come to the UFL are now calling us and asking us if they can, and not just from the player standpoint, but also from the coaching standpoint. So, because of the success that we've had of the Brandon Aubreys, the Jake Bates, the Cavante Turpins, the guys who have made that leap and gotten back up and are playing at a high level, but now also some of our head coaches, Bruce Gradkowski from the St. Louis Battlehawks is now on the Detroit Lions staff. We just lost Phil Montgomery coming into the year this year from Birmingham staff. He's now the offensive coordinator, quarterbacks coach for the Virginia Tech Hokies. So, we are sending guys into the Power Five. We are sending guys up into the assistant coach ranks in the NFL from our league. So that just continues to validate, what we're developing down here. So that's the most important thing for us is continuing to do that. But really, the hardest part in the beginning was we had to be salesmen to be able to get this league kind of propped up and going. And now the one thing that I've learned is find good people, because good people know other good people. And, Doug West and Dave Dykman on the football ops side, they were the counterparts from both of the leagues. They're amazing. Yep. And anytime we have an issue, like Kate said, something goes wrong, we got to call them. It's done. Hey, we got it covered. Don't worry about it. Or a lot of times, they're such forward-thinking people that they've already anticipated something like that happening. Hey, we had a contingency plan in place. Don't worry about that. And so we see that all across our league. Is we have really, really talented people who are really, really good quality people in a lot of our key positions. And then when we need somebody to come in and backfill a spot, it's just so easy to call them and say, hey, who do you know, to fill that spot for us? And it's done like that.
That's amazing. Okay.
Yeah. Well, two things that come to mind for me. And one is to build off of, you talk about how do we get that staying power in such a short amount of time? And Daryl was talking about how easy it can be for a team to get into a rut. And on the business side, one of the anecdotes that we have for that, right? I can't control what happens on the field, but I can influence what happens in the stands. Well, this happens to be the greatest home field advantage in spring football here at Audi Field. We've only lost
Even Daryl Johnston's wearing burgundy. Look at this.
We've only lost, I think, 3 games in this building since 2020, right? And so that's the opportunity we have on the business side, is to continue to grow that fan culture, that fan experience. So in the same way that we need folks on the football side to phone a friend sometimes, right? There's a real groundswell that's happening here. And what's exciting on the business side is there's so much more that we can do outside of that 10-week season. So each time we come back in season, there are new programs, new products, new innovations that we're bringing to the fan experience. But we also have the opportunity to continue to grow. What do we mean to DC? The other 40 weeks of the year that we're not playing, right? And so we're continuing to do more youth clinics, more fan engagement, more community engagement, because this is not just a join us for 10 weeks. It's be a Defenders fan through and through, because my team lives and works here in DC. That's a requirement to be part of the front office and the Defenders. You're here, you're not in a league role. You represent DC, you are from here. And so we are excited to continue to do more in the community. Dave and Doug are helping us with that on the football side. We're doing more youth clinics at all levels. We're engaging with coaches at all levels, local coaches, to help grow the coaching pipeline here, infuse the resources from our league here. And we're continuing to do what your wife does so beautifully for the Commanders, which is do more in the community, because everybody in this room lives here and works here as well. Right? This is their community. This is their town. And the Defenders will be here 52 weeks a year, active with our fans, not just 10 or 12 weeks.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, look, as we kind of wind down, I always love to kind of close out with a bit of a call to action, right? So anyone listening in any market, what do you want them to walk away with? If it's a business leader, corporate sponsorships, if it's, communities that don't yet have a team, should they be calling folks, fans, et cetera? What's a call to action to folks?
I think the big thing for me would be every one of our franchises has a unique fan base in their market. They've got that core group. This is one of the bigger ones, obviously. When you talk about, around the landscape of the UFL, it's DC and it's St. Louis that kind of have that larger core fan base. But even when you get into our other markets, the Birminghams, the Michigans, the Memphis, the Houstons, the San Antonios, all of those teams have that core base. And what we ask them all the time is, when you go to a game, did you enjoy it? Oh my gosh, it was great. What you get for what you pay for, it's amazing. The access you grant, the quality of the football is great. Okay, it sounds good. Next time you come back, bring somebody who hasn't been. Bring one or two people that haven't been to our games yet and let them see. I was in Michigan last Friday night, just this past Friday night, and it's kind of halftime, and you're chatting with some people in the stands. And a lady came down and she goes, thank you for coming back to Michigan. We were worried about what was going to happen. She goes, I love this team so much. She goes, I will get home at 1 o'clock in the morning tonight, but I will not miss this game. She goes, the Friday night games are a little bit challenging for me, but I love this team. And when you hear that passion, it's just the frustrating thing for me is we don't have more. And, to Kate's point, how do we get the guys involved in the community more? They're fantastic when they come into town. They do events when they come in early the day before. They get back out into the community. She talked about Dave and Doug doing some coaching clinics. During the course of our regular season, on Wednesday nights, there's going to be 5 opportunities for local high school coaches, in the DC area to be kind of tapped in, via Zoom into the DC Defenders. Whether it's a little bit of football, it's a little bit of business, it's a little bit of strength and performance. You could talk NIL stuff, whatever you want to discuss. And so we're trying to grow that connection that way. And then in the off season, as we look at the NFL model and how they captured that 365-day calendar, how do we mimic that? And our showcases, continue to provide opportunities for guys that have fallen through the cracks to get an opportunity to be seen by our personnel people and our league executives. And that gets them into training camp. So getting those more prevalent through the course of the off season and not waiting until the last second. So if they do qualify and there's an opportunity for them to get signed, we give them the best chance to get into a training camp and have an opportunity to chase that dream. So we start to expand into more of our off season. But there's a lot of things going on right now, to Kate's point, that I think that maybe it's probably us. Yeah. We need to be a little bit better at kind of trumpeting that, because what we're providing for our coaches in our communities to grow the game of football, which in my opinion, about 5 or 8 years ago, they really came down hard on the game of football when the concussion issue became, really scary for parents. And as we've kind of unwound from that, it's been a long journey back to get everybody to embrace football again. And the best way to do that is in the grassroots down younger, where there's a big initiative for flag football. We've seen flag grow at an unbelievable rate right now, boys and girls. That's something that Under Armour has really challenged us as our apparel sponsor. That's an area where they want to be more prevalent and more involved. So that it's something that that Doug and Dave, it's going to land squarely on their plate, and then we'll all gather around and we'll start to work that out. But I would keep your eyes and ears open this offseason for some flag football opportunities for the boys and the girls at a younger age, which I think is right. I think Tom Landry had it perfect years ago when he said we shouldn't put the boys in pads until they're about 13, when that body has caught up to everybody and everybody's kind of the same. And when you coached your son playing football, and when they were 10 and 11, and you had that one guy that you knew was going to be shaving when he was 14, going up against some guys that were a little bit slower in the development process. And that was a big difference on that field. So that's why the flag game is such an important thing, because it teaches you a love of the game. It teaches you the dynamic movement that you have to be successful in the game. And you're learning that at a young age, and it keeps away some of the big hits that some of the guys get. And I've always been an advocate. You know, we do our best to have good coaches out there, but I'm always amazed at, and I was guilty of this too until you see the information, how many drills should not be being run with young guys playing football when you're in pads. So just continuing to grow that and educate our coaches around the country about what are the best ways to develop players, not only making them good football players, but also making sure that you're not doing anything to hurt them physically.
That's amazing. Yeah. Any closing?
Well, I joked earlier, buy the ticket, but truly there's something in it for everybody, right? So starting with buying the ticket, why should I buy the ticket? Today happens to be our I Love Football game. And you'll hear our team talk about that and our coach talk about that all the time. We love football, but that takes on so many different forms. Some people have played football or still play football. Some people just love the game. Some just love the defenders. Some love leading the fan traditions we have here. Kids and families can come out here and have a great time. So whatever your connection is to football, there's a reason to engage with the defenders, but there's also so much more that we do. We're doing a college series for the first time. You mentioned Virginia Tech, which was our first college series partner. Today, Georgetown is our partner. If you are a fan of college football, and one of our local schools here, you went to one of those schools here, there's a connection for you. If you're a corporate partner, just like we can be innovative and nimble on the football side, we can be innovative and nimble with corporate partnerships too, right? There's not so much red tape. It's more affordable. We can be more flexible in how we activate. There's so many options. So there's truly something for everybody. There's a reason to come out to a game in any capacity. And we are going to have a girls flag football game at halftime today. So we will be, it's going to be so fun. So if you're a community partner who wants to come out, right? If you have a team of kids who are playing flag and it's too expensive to take your whole team to an NFL game, which it would absolutely could be, come here, bring your team here. You can have a great time. So our community partners, our local schools, our local teams, there's something in it for everybody. There's something that makes the game and the defenders accessible for any of our stakeholders. So buy the ticket or the partnership or the sponsorship, but get engaged with us because there's truly something for everybody that makes the DC Defenders their team.
Kate, Daryl, thank you so much.